Good morning, people. It is super early and I'm just trying to figure out this gimbal thing here because I got like a tripod gimbal all around thing. Like super cool, but it is kind of too complicated for me who's not really tech savvy. So if you have good tutorials, link them below. I need to learn this whole vlogging thing. So it is Thursday morning, and Thursdays is usually my rest day, which doesn't mean that I just sit around and don't do anything. Thursdays is my mobility, stretching, passive recovery day. We had yesterday was a cardio session, and this morning we're just gonna head into the gym. I'm doing some open gym mobility, doing my Go WOD mobility first. And then we're in the mobility class of CrossFit Ironstone. That's like my regular Thursday morning routine. I could go like somewhere during the day, but I kind of like getting up early in the morning, making coffee, taking the dog out, and then heading to the gym. Get that out of the way because I know like after a full day of work, I'm not really motivated to go back to the gym just to do some mobility and do some stretching. Tomorrow and Saturday, we have 2 longer sessions again, and I noticed that there are like some aches and pains lately ever since I started the new programming, working on some weaknesses, especially inverted movements, so handstand push-ups, handstand walking, a lot of pull-ups, a lot of chest to bar. So my shoulders are pretty tight. Doing a lot of tempo work on the squatting too, so the knees could use some TLC as well. So do the Go WOD protocol, maybe 1 or 2 in the first hour, and then the second hour we're gonna do the mobility class with Coach Turner.
Yes, I feel so nice. Yes, I feel so right. I'm thinking every night, you're the reason why. Yes, I feel so nice. Yes, I feel so right. I'm thinking every night, you're the reason why. You give me love and my heart is in debt with you. Oh, you give me love and my heart is in debt with you. Oh. Yes, I feel so nice. Yes, I feel so right. I'm thinking every night, you're the reason why. Yes, I feel so nice.
Well, mobility is always a treat. One thing that I wanted to show you guys, which I think is super inspiring, and if you watched my last video, I told you I'm super passionate about CrossFit. This video that I'm gonna show right here is from gym here, Ironstone Strength, and I think it's just super inspiring. It is one of the coaches here, Lisa. Her dad battled with cancer already 4 times in his life, and yesterday was his first gym session here at Ironstone, and I think it's super inspiring. Is everything what CrossFit and especially the Ironstone community stands for, and I'll see you guys at home where we talk a little bit more about recovery. All right, so let's talk about mobility. Why am I doing mobility like for 2 hours on a Thursday on my rest day? Well, there's basically just one simple reason. I think I mentioned it in a prior video that I played basketball for the longest time of my life. So I'm pretty sure like 15, 16 years of my life, I played professional basketball for a few years even. What I never really did was focus on recovery, was never really focused on mobility, flexibility, stretching. Back when I played, there was always this discussion, so is stretching actually good for you as an athlete? Because there were like all these discussion, you weaken your muscles, you stretch them too much, you're more prone to injury if you stretch too much. But the matter of the fact is, when I played basketball, I had major injuries. I had severe muscle injuries, I had severe joint and bone injuries, and I'm not sure if that is correlated in any way, but ever since I started CrossFit and focused more on mobility, that just comes with being in this field, right? You have brands like RomWatt, you have GoWatt, you have Wattproof has their Bionic program now. There are so many different ways of work on your mobility, and mobility is such a big part of the sport. There is no way that you are not confronted with mobility at some point. And I noticed ever since I started CrossFit and ever since I focused on mobility, my injuries went away. So every time I train for a longer period of time, couple of weeks, without focusing much on mobility, I feel a tweak here and there. I feel like my calves start seizing up, my knee is getting tight, my lower back is getting tight, is getting a little stiff. My deadlifts pinch my back sometimes, and every time I have these like little nagging things or little pinches here and there to take me out for a couple days, I always try to reassess, okay, what have I done that actually led to this injury? And most of the times I have to tell myself I just didn't do my mobility like on a consistent basis, on a regular basis lately. It sucks that it sometimes takes an injury to actually get you back on track and to get you do your mobility again, but it's also a good thing, right? Like now that it happened, I have the opportunity to actually work on it again and actually improve my body and improve my performance just by doing mobility. And so yeah, every Thursday is basically my complete rest day. Like I have a somewhat slower day right now at this point of the season on Wednesday, where we just do like a little bit of cardio, and on Thursdays is usually like completely off. This would be one of the days, you saw it this morning, like I get up pretty early. Like my alarm's going off at like 4:50 every day, just because I was used to that rhythm. Like before I started working for myself and had my own business, when I had to work my job, I had to go to the gym at 6 a.m. So I'm usually getting up at 4:50, and on Thursdays, that would be the day where I would just like sleep in because I don't have to go to the gym. So why do I go? Still to the gym at 6 a.m. For basically 2 hours of mobility, because it helps my body. Because otherwise I would start the last 2 training days of the week, Friday and Saturday, with a body that is stiff, that's still like suffering from some of the workouts that we did earlier this week. Mentioned it this morning that we work a lot of like on like handstand push-ups and inverted movements and a lot of pulling strength. My body's not used to that, especially my shoulders, my traps area is super tight every time we do this, and focus on these mobility things actually really helps release that stress, release that tension, and set me up for a good training day on Friday and Saturday again. So I'm not going through like all the recovery tools that I'm using. Like there are a lot more than just mobility. So if you want me to do a video on like all the different ways of like how can you recover on your rest days, like what options there are, what products, believe me, I spent a lot of money on recovery tools. Some are good, some are not so good. Leave a comment below. I would love to shoot a video for you if there is interest, if you guys would watch that. If you do enjoy this content, if you do enjoy these videos, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, because that helps tremendously with reaching more people and to grow this channel. Who's there? Let's get you out of here. Hello, Sammy. You want to say hi? Or are you too tired? Very suspicious.